Welcome, everyone, back to the Podcast of Champions. I'm David Woods from Bruin Report Online, the UCLA site on the 24/7 Sports Network.
And I'm Ryan Abraham from USCFootball.com, the USC site on the 24/7 Sports Network. And together we make the Podcast of Champions.
It's our beautiful baby. We've made it together.
We did make this together.
We have mixed our batters, and we have produced this bountiful cake for you.
Yeah, very bountiful. I hope you guys find it bountiful. We are live here on our YouTube channel. We're almost to 1,500 subscribers over there. So please, thank you guys for doing that, guys and gals, because we have Amy in the chat. She says, hello, POC. Thank you, Amy. Hello to you, too. Hello to everybody. We got a fun show. We're going to preview what should be an awesome weekend of Pac-12 football. We got kind of like marquee games to start and to end with Pac-12 After Dark, and there should be a lot of fun games in between. Whenever you got games in the desert, David, like there are going to be some fun times. We got those. We got lots of stuff to get to. Do you have a Carhartt shirt on?
I do.
Always. Okay. It's hard to see the logo from your.
Oh, sorry.
There you go. Okay. Someone put that up last week, or someone put that in there. So, that was gross, Dave. I don't know what was gross.
Mixing our batter.
Oh, that was gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to listen to most of what he says. Our batter's mixed, and we are ready for a great show for all of you. If you have emails, you want to say what's on your mind, you want a little therapy, you want to ask us a question, you can do that. Pac-12 Podcast at gmail.com. You can also call or text us at 424-532-0678. I have not checked if we have voicemail, so I'll try to do that on the show. Hopefully we don't have any new ones. We do?
Yes.
I'll just download them as we go because I can do that.
What the hell?
Twitter at Pac-12 Podcast, and then the website is pac12podcast.com. And if you have the Apple Podcasting app, you want to follow us over there and leave us a 5-star rating. We love that as well. Do we have any new ones?
We have 2 new ones.
How do we keep getting new ones? We're doing 2 shows a week. We get new ones every time.
I know. This is from
we love them, but that's a lot.
Yeah. This is a 5-star review from ADT Football, or
Okay.
FB. I'm assuming it's football. Who knows? Bittersweet Bacalit Bip Bookies. Love the podcast, guys. Honestly, just started listening this football season, and you guys do a tremendous job. I've watched more Pac-12 football this year than any other because conference is just loaded with talent, especially at the quarterback position, and there are intriguing matchups every week. It's sad that this is the last year the band will be together, but it's bittersweet. I hate Cal, and they fucking blow.
Wow.
P.S. Twitter David and Podcast David are 2 sides of different coins. I met Twitter David first, and I'm just glad Podcast David is human. I do not know how to take any of that.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, well, that was curious, but I enjoyed it, and it was a 5-star review. This is from Braylon M., a 5-star review. Say it with me, Dave. Whittingham, you beautiful idiot genius. Who needs clock management when you have beautiful, stupid luck? Exactly what I'm saying. He is a blessed idiot. We love him.
We do love him.
Thank you for your reviews. We love those as well.
All right. Thanks for that. Hey, I'm looking at the voicemails. We have an almost 3-minute voicemail. I don't think we're going to do that one. That seems aggressive.
Okay.
Is that? I mean,
you hate people. I understand.
You can't leave a 3-minute voicemail.
Is it the one from 503?
It's from 541.
Oh, okay. The one from 503 is garbled. It's unlistenable.
Okay, yeah. So there's one. Okay, I'll play that for us a little bit later. So what a little bit of sort of breaking news, I guess, if you want to say. There is stuff going on with the Pac-2.
Mm-hmm.
Ross Dellinger, really good reporter for Yahoo, said that the Mountain West and Oregon State, Washington State are considering a schedule alliance that could lead to a long-term agreement. But there's still a court battle going on. I read it was a really good story that he put up a couple of days ago, and I thought it was really good. Makes a lot of sense if you're going to have some sort of agreement, but they might, the Mountain West might want an agreement with basically a lease to, rent to own kind of thing. Oregon State, Washington State, I think they want to keep their options open. They certainly want to, have a path to be Power 5 conference again, all that kind of fun stuff. But I think it makes the most sense if they just stay together, the 2 schools, and then have some kind of deal with the Mountain West. And then John Wilner was reporting about some of the court documents. The more and more evidence is going towards there's no way you can say that if USC and UCLA were out when they went out, you can't say, okay, well, Utah's in and Oregon and Washington are in and all that. So it seems like that's where that's going. But, so Oregon State, Washington State would control whatever assets are left with the Pac-12 Network and the money coming in from the NCAA tournament. The $72 million from Comcast, I guess, is all coming out this fiscal year, so they'll be done with that. But everyone's kind of losing on that one, so there wouldn't be maybe that liability. I don't know if there's any more liabilities with the Pac-12 Network headquarters and all that kind of stuff, but it seems like there's significant revenue there that Washington State and Oregon State could control, and then give them some options for rebuilding the Pac-2 or making a transition to the Mountain West, whatever was going to go on there. But there's some stuff going on, but it's still like we're getting towards the end of the season. We don't even know who Washington State or Oregon State are going to be playing in football next year. So it's getting a little crazy, but just any thoughts on all that stuff, David?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same crazy thing, but I think they're doing the right thing for them financially, which is what anyone's doing at this point. That's the only thing people are thinking about is what's good for me money-wise. So that's good.
But I think it's good for them if just playing Mountain West schools, like an agreement. Like,
no.
You don't think that's good?
No.
Compared to
good relative to what? Good in that they have football teams to play against?
No, I mean, okay, so not saying it's good because they don't have the Pac-12 to play anymore, but giving their current situation, they could have said we're going to join the ACC or something, and then you're playing. I'd rather them play Mountain West schools here than
the best case scenario would still be for them to somehow backdoor and invite into the Big 12, because then they could still play some certain number of Pac-12 teams, and you're getting a level of competition that's greater than what you're going to get in the Mountain West. But barring that, yeah, I mean, it's better than playing 4 FCS schools that they'd each have to play if they were trying to stick in the West Coast. Yeah, but I mean, the whole situation sucks.
It does suck. It sucks for them, and we hate to see it. So, I don't even get this lawsuit. It's just you're going to leave them, just let them control what assets are left.
J-Mac says, I see David yawning. Someone get that man an energy drink stat. I'm yawning because Ryan has led off this exciting week of Pac-12 football with banal contract negotiations and lawyer shit. Come on.
It's news.
Yeah, stick it at the end if you want to talk about it.
Oh.
You can talk about it to yourself after I leave to go pick up my child.
Okay. Well, is it news that we forgot to mention this? Maybe we did, but this is something I have an issue with, and I don't know. And we've talked about this a little bit.
You've been angry about this for a long time because you prioritize media day above all other things.
Cam Rising, Brent Keefe are two superstars for Utah. Kyle Whittingham, you called the
blessed
idiot, brings them to Pac-12 Media Day. This is in July.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play. Warm up a little bit. They don't play. Week after week, don't play. After the USC game, he announces that they're both out for the year. I don't think that's ever happened where people, a coach has brought 2 players that weren't going to play for the entire season. They would maybe 2 guys that got hurt in fall camp or something, but they weren't even going to play the whole season, and you bring them out there. I
don't know that he knew that at that time.
I mean, it seemed pretty optimistic that they would be able to play. I'd rather just bring somebody else.
Sure. But I think so. He was, I think, very clearly approaching this with we're going to rub some dirt on it and they're going to be out there, which is stupid. Again, blessed idiot. But I don't think it was that nefarious. I do think they're really strict with their injury policies, but I don't think it was an intent to mislead for the whole season. I think they probably were well, we're going to get him back by conference play, and then they didn't.
Yeah. I don't know, but it's unfortunate.
The Keithy one is weirder. I mean,
because he was supposed to be really close.
He was hurt at the beginning of September last year.
Yeah.
So that one the timeline is a little bit strange, but the Rising one, we were casting doubt on that in the offseason. So that one isn't shocking that he might be out the whole year because ACL, in as much as one guy can come back, after 6 or 7 months, lots of guys still take at least a year. And then they might not even be 100% when they're back.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I don't get as excited about that because I don't care about media day as much as you do.
Because I go.
I went the last 2 years.
You went 2 years?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Remember, you drove me 2 years ago.
Yeah.
To the last one in LA.
Yeah, and then Vegas, baby.
Vegas, baby.
I'm going to Vegas for after USC plays Washington.
Of course you are.
There's like a basketball thing.
What?
There's like USC's playing, like women's and men's basketball are playing.
Oh, are they doing a tournament there? Or
there's some kind of thing.
Single event day? Matthew asked an important question in light of your media day upset. Any spring practice updates?
Yeah, I put that up on the screen already. I did go golfing this morning, Matthew. That's why we're doing the show a little bit later. So, yeah. Our one of our resident Utah fans, Amy says, I have so many thoughts about this whole thing with Coach Witt and the Rising issue. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like gamesmanship's one thing. This seemed to go way beyond that. Like, you bring them to media day. You're like, we want all the people in the beginning of our schedule to think that Cam Rising is going to play. Like, if that's what it is, it's just like, I think you're doing a disservice to the kid who had to go to media day and answer questions when you're like.
All the people, like the 17 people at media day.
We had a lot of people.
Oh, jeez.
I know. Okay, well, what you should do? We should, like, preview some games.
Yes, please. Good God.
Do you know how many schools are on buys this week?
Oh, it's got to be, what, 3 or 4?
None.
Wow.
0.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we're going to go in order the way they're played, and it just so happens we're bookended by a couple of really good ones. So first up, we've got
Oregon Ducks.
Going on the road. Doesn't seem like a difficult road trip, right? Like Salt Lake City, very inviting. Like, it doesn't seem too bad. They're going to take on
Utah Utes.
This game is at 12:30, and I want you to note the time because that's the only potential for Oregon to actually win this game is that it's daytime and not nighttime. That's it. That's the only reason. 12:30 p.m. on Big Fox, number 8, Oregon traveling to number 13, Utah. Utah is a 6.5-point home dog. I don't even want to provide analysis. I'm just going to take Utah. So here's the thing. Utah, I think, has found some things offensively that work, as a well-coached team will. They looked inept and awful at the beginning of the year offensively, trying to make things happen. Nothing was happening. But as a well-coached team does, they've figured out some things that they do well, and they've accentuated those things.
Yeah.
One of those things they do well is take players from other positions and put them at running back. Jaquindon Jackson, now Sione Vaki. He's been excellent. Kyle Whittingham alluded to him just being a full-time offensive player this week, which is, again, strong similarity to what happened with Miles Jack in 2013. I think they've now got enough that you can say, okay, they're going to score some points. It might not be, they're not going to score 40 a game, but they're going to score some points. And then defensively, they've been Utah all year. Oregon, I don't know. Have they contended with a defense of this caliber? I don't think so. And it's on the road in Utah. You're giving me points. Of course I'm taking Utah. They might not win, but 6.5? Good God.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
I mean, like last week it was like 7 points. Yeah, give me Utah on the 7 points. This week it's at home. Now, could Oregon get it together and
sure. Win by 10? Maybe.
Yeah, they could win by. I could see Oregon winning by 14, 17 or something. That certainly could happen. But on the road, there's just so many bad things that could happen, and Utah gets those things. Like you were talking about the blessed idiot. Like, things are going to go Utah's way, especially in Salt Lake City. There's going to be things like, oh my God, like I can't believe Bo Nix threw that pick, or oh, that punt return for a touchdown. Like, there's going to be things like that, and it's just going to be, I think, close. Now, certainly there's a world where Oregon pulls away and they just look really good, and Utah kind of comes back down to earth, and the pig farmer doesn't look very good, and your safety doesn't go for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, that's possible, but I think it's a lot more probable that it's some crazy Utah game that somebody wins by a field goal, and so that's inside the 6.5. So give me the 6.5.
Yeah, absolutely.
All day long.
We're in firm agreement.
We agree, is what our friends over at the Solid Verbal would say. Okay, next up, we've got
USC Trojans.
I should have mentioned the ranks. So Oregon's number 8, and Utah's number 13. USC's number 24, and they're going on the road to take on
California Golden Bears.
This is 1 p.m. on the Pac-12 Network. So, I mean, how do you divide your attention? It's like there's this really good game going on this other channel, and then you've got this crap fest on the Pac-12 Network. Number 24, USC. Why is USC still ranked? I'm seriously asking.
They started at 20.
Pure
at
inertia.
5.
Like, who have they beaten?
Arizona. This is their best win.
Yeah, and and barely a win.
Yeah.
Number 24, USC going to Cal. Cal is a 10.5-point home dog. First, obviously, I'm taking Cal. I will then walk that back immediately and say, if there's ever a team that USC could blow out even at this broken stage of their development this year, it is Cal.
Yeah.
Cal's bad. And I think Jackson Sermon is now out for the year.
Oh, I missed that.
I believe so.
Cal has a really bad defense, and it's going to be worse without Jackson Sermon.
Yeah. He's got a season-ending injury. So he's out for the year. Fernando Mendoza, though, on the other side, he got dinged up in his last game, but he was fine. He should be fine.
He should be. I talked to a source who couldn't confirm that he's going to play, but sounded pretty optimistic.
Okay. Ryan talked to Fernando Mendoza.
No.
So
never. I didn't cover him in high school.
Yeah, but they could move the ball because anyone can against this USC defense because Alex Grinch is a unlucky idiot. You know, you've got a blessed idiot for Utah, but then you've got an unlucky idiot in Alex Grinch who, what bad luck to say in your availability this week. You know, we just didn't see it on film as like a half-assed explainer for the bad thing that you didn't do against Sione Vaki.
Right.
And then just have that be immediately proven untrue, that if you were doing your job, you absolutely did see it on film because it was one of the plays they ran in the previous game.
Yes.
How unfortunate, right? That you make up the dumb excuse and then it immediately blows up in your face. Lots of people are able to lie successfully, but not Alex Grinch. Sad. Anyway, USC, what can you say? I think they're going to be able to score some points, but I could also see Cal, doing its thing that it's done against some bad defenses this year, which is weirdly score like 35. So yeah, give me 10.5. I'll take it.
Me too. Yeah, this one's easy for me. Now, could USC get their act together? Lincoln Riley missed a couple of days of practice with pneumonia. It's been a weird week around USC for sure.
And it's usually so normal and so stable around USC.
There was, when you get instability and they've lost a couple of games, like I'm not taking them to cover on the road like this. Like, I think they'll win the game, but 10.5 points is quite a bit. We've seen Cal offense. They've been pretty good. And if Mendoza plays, they could be really good. They had over 500 yards against Washington, which is a better defense than USC. Oregon State's a better defense than USC, and they put up 40 on the Bees. Now, they gave up 52, and that wouldn't be covering the spread. But USC has to get their act together because they've just not played well for the last month. So will they? I mean, they could. Their stretch after this is really difficult. There could be a look ahead kind of thing, but if you lost 2 games, it's really hard to look ahead. But yeah, I like Cal in the points. They can offense. They can. When you're going to be a home dog of double digits and it's a team that can score a bunch of points, it's really hard for me. So yeah, give me the points and we'll see where it goes from there.
Losing this game, you don't even want to contemplate the depths of that abyss.
Oh, if USC
for
lost
USC fans,
yeah, that would be
that is potential for 6-6 utter collapse.
Yeah.
You got to win this one. This is a must win.
For sure. All right. Next up, we've got, this is our number 5 team overall.
Washington Huskies.
Going on the road to take on
Stanford Cardinal.
All right. So this is at 4 p.m. on FS1, number 5 Washington at Stanford. Stanford is a 26.5-point home dog. Under the same theory as last week, I will again be taking the big dog against Washington. the ASU game didn't work out the way I thought it would. Like the reason for taking ASU against Washington, I thought it would be one of those like just backdoor covers because they're letting them back in the game. This one I think is going to be more that speed. You know, Washington does like to get backups in the game. I do think they're going to blow them out real good, but I could see it being 24 points instead. 26.5 is just a lot, so I'm going to take Stanford.
This is really tough because I want to pick Washington. Seeing what, UCLA just went to the farm and just boat raced them.
Yep.
I mean, there wasn't. I guess Stanford had some opportunities, right? They just blew them. And Washington looked like, smelly ass against Arizona State. Didn't score an offensive touchdown. But Stanford was so bad, and they have been so bad. But I'm going to.
The thing I'll say about Stanford though is they move the ball.
Like
they like to commit penalties, but they did move the ball.
And UCLA's defense significantly better than Washington's. So if Stanford can move the ball a little bit, and we've seen Washington's offense not be that great. Stanford's defense is putridy, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of points. And my theme this week when I saw the spreads was just like, I'm taking underdogs. And it's hard not to take the 26.5. Could Washington, beat them 45-0? Yes. And you're just like, okay, I'll take my L if that happens. But otherwise, like, I feel a little more comfortable just like sitting on my couch watching. Well, I won't be on my couch because I'll be traveling. But, watching Stanford try to keep it within 4 touchdowns of Washington. Like, I feel better on that side. When Washington's up 21-0 in the first quarter, you'd be like, oh, well, that's screwed. But, we'll see what happens. Maybe they got a little dog in them.
Little fight in them.
I literally was cheering for Stanford last week, thinking I had picked Stanford when I had picked UCLA. And I was like, man, they suck. So I get to cheer for them again. This time, maybe they'll have a better chance.
Maybe.
Okay, we're both on Stanford. And all those points. Yum, 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 yum. Okay, what did you say? What was our mixing? What was the word you used for
moist points?
No, it was when we mixed our like a batter of something.
Yeah, I can't remember that far back.
With something as early on. Yuck. Okay, next up, this is gonna be going at the same time. Essentially, we got
Colorado Buffaloes.
The Fighting Primes are coming to primetime. They're coming to L.A. Mm-hmm. They're going to the Rose Bowl to take on the number 23
UCLA Bruins.
4:30 p.m. on ABC. Colorado traveling to number 23 UCLA. UCLA is a 17-point home favorite. Colorado, they have a horrible defense. Not quite Stanford level, but horrible.
Really bad.
Bad running attack.
Not good.
Elite passing attack.
They ran the ball against USC.
Yeah. Shedeur Sanders, probably the most accurate quarterback in the league this year.
Does he like to get sacked?
He does like to take sacks, unfortunately.
Is UCLA any good at that?
They're pretty good at that.
Oh.
So their best asset is their quarterback, who, again, likes to get sacked a lot. And UCLA's best asset defensively is shutting down any running game and rushing the passer.
Okay.
So what Colorado has to hope for is to hit big plays in the passing game, because you're probably not going to manage efficiency. You're probably not going to manage to march consistently. But maybe you can hit a couple of big ones over the top. That's got to be their hope. It's a slim hope. And then on the other end, Colorado's defense is just really bad. I mean, their linebacker play is so bad. They're dropping a safety in at linebacker this week. Trevor Woods is going to play linebacker.
Your cousin?
My cousin, Trevor. Yeah, I mean, they're just, that front seven is really, really poor. They're really bad against the pass and very bad against the run. I like UCLA to cover. I'm 1-5 against the spread picking UCLA this year.
This is killing me because I want to pick opposite you because that's what worked last week when I finally got a win.
But you are having an impossible time doing so?
It's really hard.
Yeah. The worm's got to turn. I've been so good picking other games.
Yeah, I feel like this was one that coming off the bye, the last thing that you did was blow a 29-point halftime lead.
And then you had to go sit on it for 2 weeks.
You really sat on it for 2 weeks. Now, it can be motivating. And obviously, you have one of the great motivators in all of football with Coach Prime.
Yep.
Using that. But, man, I feel like when we've seen Colorado sort of struggle, like, we just haven't seen them play like a defense like this, right? Like, who else have they played? That was
okay. Let me. I'll go through the best defenses they've played. All right,
they've already played Oregon. They got This is it. Like,
all right. So the best defense they've played is Nebraska. And if you remember that game, they finished with 36 points, but a lot of that was off of horrible Nebraska turnovers.
Yeah.
Oregon had a good defense. They scored 6 points. TCU is a top 40 defense, and they scored 45.
Yeah, that was early. That was a weird one.
Yeah, I mean, the X factor here is that Travis Hunter is back and playing on offense again, and that does change their passing attack a little bit more. I think Shedeur Sanders has a lot more faith in him catching the ball than like Jimmy Horn, who drops 1 in 5 balls that are thrown his way. So I mean, there's reasons to think it could happen. I'm just playing the odds. It's got to be UCLA.
Yeah, I hate to agree with you, but I mean, you got a Garbers at quarterback, like that's going to be way better.
Yeah, no, he's got the bloodlines of the best quarterback in Pac-12 history.
Jim in the really Pac-12 history, I think it's Chase. Jim says Chip's going to pull out all the option game with Colin Schlee. When that guy runs, he just runs.
Yeah, and so Colin Schlee was back in practice this week. I mean, Chip's not saying who's going to start, but it's
duh.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Ethan Garbers. So yeah, I mean, there's you have to like kind of it's like an eye of the needle type thing to get a scenario for Colorado to pull out a win. I mean, it's not so much to get a cover, but just this feels like a UCLA blowout to me.
It does too. So I kind of have to roll with you there, but I hate giving up that many.
Yeah.
And Colorado could come off the bye week and just look like a whole new team.
Totally.
Or not. But UCLA pulled it, last week on the road, just took care of business, covered with ease. I think they're going to do the same thing here. So I will agree with you again, Mr. Woods. Okay. This one should be a fun one. We've got unranked
Washington State Cougars.
You get that for a while until I pick you right. Against also unranked and on the road at
Arizona State Sun Devils.
You kind of joked about this one. I actually think this one is going to be fun.
It will be.
5 p.m. on the Pac-12 Network, Washington State at ASU. Arizona State is a 5.5-point home dog. ASU. I'm taking ASU. I think ASU wins.
I thought, this was one I was like, should I just take the money line? Because I feel like this is an ASU. Now, Washington State looked better last week.
For a little bit.
Against
and then
Oregon.
They looked broken.
But Arizona State is just always kind of right there.
They're right there, and this is the weakest team they've played, in a long time. I mean, I guess Colorado was pretty weak, but
I mean, they had Washington, Colorado,
yeah,
Cal.
they played super competitive against Washington. They played very competitively against Colorado. They should have beaten Cal on the road.
Could have beat USC at home.
Could have beaten USC. It was very close in the third quarter.
They had Fresno State on the road. No, that was not good.
But
that was pre Dillingham calling plays.
Since Denny Killingham's been calling plays, it's been a different deal. So, I like ASU here. I think Washington State looks still fundamentally broken. The defensive job from Brian Ward against Washington was so impressive that I think he'll be able to suss out exactly what you're supposed to do against Washington State, as most coordinators have since UCLA game. So
dropping guys back in the coverage.
Yeah, I think ASU is going to have some success doing that. It's a relative night game in the desert. If that crowd can get raucous, I don't know how much they're expecting for this game, but if there are enough fans in the stands, I think it could make it very interesting, and I think ASU wins.
I gotta do too. I mean, I think this is like a Brian Ward sort of game. Like, he's had great game plans against really good offenses, and this is an offense that was really good for a while, and then it's kind of shit the bed for a little bit. But to shut down Michael Penix on the road like that, you got to think at home they're going to do a nice job against Cam Ward. So 5.5 points. I thought this would be closer to a pick'em, and then you'd like kind of a decision. But 5.5, I'm going to take Arizona State here. We'll see. Let's see how the Sun Devils play. Offensive lines doesn't exist, right? Like it's just not very good.
The Washington State offensive line?
No, the Arizona State offensive line.
Neither of their offensive lines are any good.
Yeah, but Arizona State had like a bunch of injuries and stuff too. You got like, managers going to walk on and play offensive line or something. But I feel like this is going to be. ASU is just there. Like they're competitive in all these games, and at home, I think they'll be competitive again. All right. Last game of the night, Pac-12 after dark, baby. We got number 11.
Oregon State Beavers.
And unranked, at least for the moment,
Arizona Wildcats.
7:30 p.m. on ESPN, number 11, Oregon State at Arizona. Arizona is a 3-point home dog. What time's this game taking place at?
7:30 p.m.
Where?
This is in the desert in Tucson, Arizona.
Right.
It's not very close to Corvallis, Oregon.
Has a good Arizona team ever lost a night game at home? I don't know. Ever? Maybe?
But Oregon State plays great on the road, right?
Yeah, I think Arizona's going to win the game.
Yeah.
I mean, so Oregon State's been a really, really good team this year. This is a tough spot. Arizona is playing really, really good football. Should have beaten USC. Played really competitively against Washington. Beat the hell out of Washington State last time out. They're off a bye. I'm obviously there's scenarios where Oregon State wins and covers for sure, but it's just, I mean, and now Arizona, so if they win this one, they've got a back-to-back at home where they're doing this one and then UCLA also at 7:30 next Saturday. Things could get very interesting for the Wildcats if they pull this off, this twofer right here. This is a huge game for Arizona. I think for Jed Fish, for that program. But Noah Fafita has been basically unblemished as the starter. I think he's going to have a good game. And I think their defense could disrupt DJU. I like Arizona to win.
I like Arizona in this one too. Just when they went on the road and just absolutely pummeled Washington State, it just was like this, eye-opening moment. Lost a couple games early, kind of like what could have been. But this definitely seems like a Jedfish Bowl team, which is great. This is a big one though. Coming in, Oregon State coming in, a highly ranked team, and it's as close as it is. Oregon State has struggled on the road a lot. I do like the way DJU's been playing, and I wasn't even that down on them like early in the season when a lot of other people are. Running game.
Who would have been down on him?
That might have been you. That might have been you. But to be fair, a lot of people were. And I was just like, I didn't see them being that bad. Like, whatever. Running game could travel. This defense hasn't been as good as, we thought, but they can do some good things. So, but yeah, I like Arizona here, at least getting the points. What is it, 3.5? Is that what we're?
3.
Okay. I wanted to take underdogs in most of the games, but the UCLA and Washington ones did not. But for the most part, and we all agreed on all these, I'm still 3 behind you, but I need to get I'm 3 above 500 now. So working my way back up there. So we'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to be it. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back and do questions. Back in a minute, everyone. All righty, we're back here.
Are we starting with Eric?
You want me to do the voicemail first?
Sure.
I downloaded it, but I don't know.
I think it's Eric.
Look to see where we're starting. Okay, let's do the voicemail first, and then we'll go to questions.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Perk. I'm just curious. Kind of saw, I forget who the writer was on The Athletic, but they were talking about Lincoln Riley and kind of the path forward for USC after their 2 losses, and how he's in a spot where he's going to have to be doing something that he's not used to doing or that he never did at Oklahoma, which is effectively build a program given kind of what was left over from Clay Helton. And Ryan, I was curious to see if you feel that sentiment is warranted, and if you feel like he's doing a good job and kind of putting the infrastructure in place to do that, or if you feel like there's in year two kind of a lot of holes that have left to be filled. I'm just curious to get your thoughts. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Perk. Yeah, there's definitely, we've talked about this, I think, last show. There's a portion of the USC fan base that's ready to move on and they just want something else. And I think part of it is he did have he had a shit ton of success in his first year. Winning a Heisman is nothing to sneeze at, and winning 11 games, that's pretty rare too. But you set the bar super high at that point. And my opinion, just covering this team for a while, there was a lot of rot from within that you had to sort of fix. And when it looked like he fixed everything in year one, they're like, okay, now you can build on that. And I feel like some of it's not there. And I think he's still a young coach. It does help if you take over a great culture like Bob Stoops had when he was at Oklahoma. But there's also there's difficulties replacing a legend too. Like whoever's going to take over Nick Saban, not that Bob Stoops was that level, but it's a lot. Nick Saban built this amazing program, but you still have to take over for the guy. And I thought he did a nice job doing that. And, is the jury out is he going to be like a top 5 coach? I don't know. But I think he's got that potential. There's really good stuff on his resume. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff that you kind of have to rebuild. They're not recruiting at very well, but I think some of that is just their USC's not been very good at adapting to, the early signing period, NIL, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I feel like he's doing a lot of good stuff, but there's some bad stuff too, and I think there's things you need to fix. Ohio State's defense wasn't very good, and you go get Jim Knowles from Oklahoma State. Why? Because they had this amazing defense. And what's Ohio State's defense this year? It's amazing. So if he can do that, if he goes and hires some really good, you got Brian Ward, okay, that would probably be a big improvement. You go out and get somebody that's a really good defensive coordinator, and I think that's a step in the right direction. If not, if you're still kind of futzing around with that, or you get somebody else or promote from within, then you're like, okay, then I'm not sure he's doing the right things to kind of build the program up. But I think in general, yeah, based on his resume, based on what he's done so far, taking the shit show he took over, I think you're about where it was. If it was 6-2 to start last year, and then 11-3 this year, it'd be one thing. But if they go 11-3 and then 8-4, it's hey, you're not going the right direction.
Do you think your opinion would meaningfully change if they finish the year 7-5?
Then, no, and that's a possibility for sure. I still think so, because it was so bad. It just shows how much he was able to do that first year, and maybe some of it's there's some smoke and mirrors aspect to it, and you catch lightning in a bottle and all that, and it's easier to go out with no expectations than with heavy ones. It would to me, David, be more about, all right, you didn't do things the right way to go into year 2. You did stuff right year 1, and you maybe took some took some things for granted, and it wasn't the same way in year 2. But even if they finish this, 8-4 or something, I still feel like you didn't take advantage of the right thing. There's things you need to correct, but you didn't do things as right in year 2 as you did in year 1. So,
and the main thing would be firing Alex Grinch out of a cannon into the moon.
Okay, that's a given, and I didn't have an issue with his sort of explanation why, but I think there's other things. The offense hasn't been really good either. I think there's it's a difficult thing. Caleb Williams has become this huge deal. Has it been a distraction?
Right.
I think there's a lot of stuff that you could have handled better, but if you had a better defense, you need a better defense than what you have. It's not, the talent is better than it was last year, and the defense still pretty crappy. So that's a big one, but there's other problems too. That's more to me, it just seems like there's other issues, with, you fixed a bunch of stuff, but it's still not, the foundation isn't built the way you'd want it to yet, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. I think cautioning patience for USC fans is probably the right move. Not a straight line. The only thing I would say is that the problems inherent with what's going on at USC right now, and strictly the defense, it's been a problem for him. And He's produced, I think, he produced more consistently elite programs at Oklahoma. There is a unique factor that USC, the Pac-12 this year is indeed very strong, and USC is playing a much more difficult schedule this year than last year. So it might, records, wobbling a little bit one way or the other is sometimes just a reflection of schedule.
Yeah.
I think there's still some questions to answer for Lincoln Riley.
Jackson says no signature wins for Lincoln Riley in year one. Like I would push back on that too. If you beat USC, for USC to beat UCLA and Notre Dame in the same season, it's pretty rare. He did both of those things.
And that was a good UCLA team.
It was a good UCLA team. It was a pretty good, Notre Dame team. They had some good wins and some bad losses. And they, that Oregon State win on the road was, that's not an easy place that's the only loss they've had there, right? Like, has Oregon State lost at home again?
I don't think so.
I don't think they have. So, they did some good things. You can't just throw away the whole season like, it was 11 wins that was terrible. Like, that's not the case. They should have won the Cotton Bowl for sure. That you probably have a different, but even then, if they were 12-2 and they won the Cotton Bowl, you'd be really mad if they go 8-4 this year. So, but fun stuff.
All right. Do you want to do the other voicemail or?
Oh, that's the only one.
Oh, okay. This is Eric F.
Okay, I gotcha.
Rushing the field. Hi, Dave and Ryan. I think it's cool when college football fans rush the field at the end of an amazing win. I graduated UCLA in 98 and don't recall ever seeing UCLA fans at the Rose Bowl rush the field after a huge win, e.g. 13-9 in 2006. I think all of the other Pac-12 teams have had instances where the fans rush the field. However, it seems like there is more footage of Rose Bowl security guards acting like free safeties and pummeling fans as they encroach the sacred grass of the Rose Bowl. What's it going to take for UCLA football fans to rush the field? Granted, I understand that a huge win, which doesn't always happen for UCLA, is a prerequisite. Love the pod and look forward to next year's format, especially the sound effects for the preview of the Indiana versus Nebraska game. Thanks, Eric. I can hear a bunch of my classmates from 2006 screaming right now as I'm reading this because there was an attempt to rush the field, and many of them got pepper sprayed by Rose Bowl security.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they're adamant. They do not allow people to rush the field at the Rose Bowl. So you have to really want it, and there has to be more than just the students who really, really want it. And I don't think that's ever going to be the case at a UCLA game. Like, everyone has to jump or no one does because they will pepper spray you and maybe hit you with batons.
We had Vishnu say, let me put it up here on the screen for you guys if you're watching on YouTube. We tried rushing the field as students in 2006. Yes. The cops beat our asses.
Exactly. I heard so many friends who got beat up or pepper sprayed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's one of those stories that's grown. Like, I'm sure it was one kid that got pepper sprayed, but it's now the stalwart 300.
Yeah. They had the pepper spray cannon out.
Yes.
It was like a fire hose of pepper spray.
Yes.
Matthew says UCLA fans are warned not to a lot.
Yes.
I think it's an LA thing too, because it's sort of LA fans just don't necessarily care about anyone else. You're not you're happy you won, but you're not oh my God, we beat the mighty somebody. You just think of yourself as UCLA, USC, UCLA, Lakers, whatever. You're just whatever.
I think everyone should rush the field after every game. I think it's fun.
It'll be fun.
And Pauley Pavilion is much the same way, where the security is aggressive. They do not let you rush the field or rush the court.
Is it weird that I've been to Pauley more recently than you?
No.
All right. Next up, we got Fred in Sarasota. Am I a college football fan? Sometimes. I'm really more of a USC football fan. I wanted the season to end and to move on to 2022 as soon as Riley's hire was announced. When the Trojans lost to Utah in the Pac-12 championship game, I was ready immediately for 2023. As of Saturday night, I am ready for the Big Ten. Riley will be fine, but he needs to admit that he has a problem on defense and get a DC who is very experienced in the Big Ten. Jim Leonard, who had much success at Wisconsin, is available. That's a good name, Fred.
Hang on. Fred, you are not even a USC football fan. What you are is a championship-level USC football fan. You're ready to move on. It's October, Fred. It's October and you don't have a bad team. It's just a flawed team, and you're ready. You're done. I'm out of this.
It's like the Fansville commercial where like they're all burning their jerseys and stuff, and then Bosworth is like, it was the first play of the game. Oh, yeah, maybe a little. Yeah, like, so I guess it's championship or bust for Fred.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, this is from John Lobb. Kyle Whittingham. Hey, guys.
Blessed idiot.
I'm of the opinion that Kyle Whittingham is the best coach in the country. No disrespect to Nick Saban and his 8 national titles, or however many it is, but I don't think he would have the success that Kyle Whittingham has enjoyed with 2- and 3-star recruits. My God, Utah's quarterback is a former walk-on third-string pig fucker.
Wait, that's not nice. Farmer. I think he spelled
for
farmer
Christ's
wrong.
sake. Again, I read that on accident. Like, I read it because I was like, oh, it's going to be farmer. And then but it's not. He said pig fucker. Again, just my opinion. Discuss all the best, John in Salt Lake. Okay.
Is he a really good head coach?
He's in the top tier.
He has to be.
But I'm not going to sit here comparing him to Nick Saban or Urban Meyer, who, like, what did he do? Coach 2 years at Utah and
went 12-0.
Yeah. So he's Kyle Whittingham's really good. It's like, but it's like 2 different meals you're eating. Like it's a different thing. Like Kyle Whittingham is like I don't know. It's like a really great cheeseburger. And like Nick Saban's like a really great, I don't know, like Italian dish or something. It's just like a different thing. Like you're getting a program builder. You're getting something that's like meat and potatoes that's just going to be good. And it's going to be in the same way good forever. And then Nick Saban, you're winning national titles because he can recruit like a god to Alabama and turn it into a bulldozer. But it's different things. I don't know if Kyle Whittingham could go to Alabama and do what Nick Saban's done. And by that same token, maybe Nick Saban couldn't have gone to Utah and done.
Right. I think there's different.
But I will say, I do think Nick Saban could have gone to Utah and done more or less what Kyle Whittingham did. Like, he's a really good coach, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to get into like Kyle Whittingham is like the best coach in the history of football.
He's really good.
He's really good. He's probably the best and most consistent coach in the Pac-12 since the Pac-12 started.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think there's something to be said for longevity, consistency. And you have a system in place that works, that you can plug in a safety at your running back spot, but everyone knows the drill. That helps a lot. Like you've had this culture established, and the freshman class comes in, they learn it from everybody, and the sophomores are still learning it from the seniors, but they're now learning more, and they're teaching the freshmen coming in. It's just everybody knows it, and the coaches stay the same a lot, and they know what's expected of them. So there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching the NBA last night. Popovich, it's like 28 seasons or whatever at San Antonio, like winning championships, being shitty,
Right.
And then they got do you see that 7'4", whatever, Wembanyama? Like, you don't watch the NBA at all?
No.
He's like the number 1 pick.
I know.
Yeah. All he did was shoot threes.
Yeah.
He wasn't like getting in the paint. Like he looked like he was going to break.
Well, because if he goes in the paint, he's going to break in half.
I was going to say, like he was like 2 of 4, 6 points, 2 of 4 on threes. I'm like, he's only taking threes, and then he got a few more points. I think he got a couple points in the paint or something. But anyway, digression there. Let's see. Let's go to. I think we have. Oh, this is from. Fuck a you.
I would go fuck a Yui.
Fuck a Yui. Okay. This is for David Long email. Cocky David is my favorite David of the year. Whether it's basketball or football, when David gets hope in his heart and eyes that UCLA is going to be great, it's the greatest time of year. I would agree. Like when UCLA basketball starts to do well, like, oh, someone's going to get hurt, they're going to suck, and it's going to hurt them. Over the past few weeks, David talked about how DJ Onomatopoeia was not a good passer, and Clemson wasn't a fluke, only to have UCLA get beat by Oregon State. This brought David back down to reality, in which he thought UCLA might barely beat Stanford. This roller coaster of emotions is why the podcast of champions is great. Or when David went on a rant about sports gambling and how it needs to be regulated and governed, but then promotes my bookie every week, which is an offshore unregulated bookie site. Coming from Kansas back to California, I would say The regulated gambling sites are far better and actually more regulated than many people would think. David, my question to you is, being a degenerate gambler last season, I watched a lot of Maction and watched more big ball state games than I'd like to admit. But Carson Steele was an absolute animal and carried that big ball state offense on his back. It seems like at UCLA, his name isn't nearly as mentioned as it was at Big Ball State. How would you say he's looked this year at UCLA? With love, David, your pal. Fuck are you?
Thank you for the question. So I would say Carson Steele has looked, on the positive side, big and strong and able to break tackles. On the other side, I don't know that his speed has translated to the Pac-12 the way it might have showed up in the MAC. He gets caught from behind a lot. And so I was looking at it earlier today. His yards before contact this year, he is at, I'm going to pull it up because I don't want to get it wrong. His yards before contact is under 2. It is 1.6 yards before contact. For comparison, a guy who runs with the exact same offensive line, TJ Harden, is at 3.8. So 2.2 fewer yards before contact for Carson Steele. Now, some of that is defenses are more predisposed to know it's a run when he's in the game, I guess. But a lot of it is he gets caught, a linebacker will crash from the side, and they'll get to Carson Steele before he's even hit the hole. Holes closed before he gets there. It's just a little bit of that. He is so big and strong, though, that he then generates yards no matter what, and he's got a stunning 4 yards after contact.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Which is nuts. So he's averaging 5 point with some takeaways. It's 5.3 yards per carry. But it really limits his explosive playability. He does not break big runs. It's a lot of grinding efficiency running.
Jackson says, watched a lot of Steele last year. His success came by having volume carries. Ball State would wear down teams, and Steele would have his greatest success in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. And he's a very physically fit guy, so I can see that. And UCLA has used Steele best when he's getting 25 plus carries.
Yeah.
He's not you can't use him the same way you use Zach Charbonnet.
No. Jackson says he has a lot of 2-3 yard carries.
Yes. It's a lot of jab.
Okay.
I
think you're next, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the next one. All right, it's from Joshua. If you fail to learn from history. I just wanted to point out the following things that happened in Lincoln Riley's last year at Oklahoma. 1. He canceled all media availability the week after playing Texas because the student newspaper wrote an article that they watched practice from a building across the street and confirmed Caleb Williams was taking first-team reps. This was directly after Williams came in for Spencer Rattler against Texas when down 28 points to save OU and pull out a miracle victory. 2. He canceled last minute on doing his Monday coaches show on November 9th, citing a personal matter. 3. After losing to Oklahoma State in the post-game press conference, a reporter asked him about rumors he was taking another job. Riley cut him off before he could finish the question to say he was not going to be the next head coach at LSU, then ended the press conference. All I'm saying is, Ryan might want to start doing some plane tracking. My prediction is at the end of the year, Riley says all the right things, and then after the NFL Week 18 games are played on January 7th, or in the following week, it's announced that he has taken one of the open NFL jobs, leaving USC in the ferocious position of having all of their impact players hitting the portal way late in the cycle and scrambling to find a new head coach after the coaching carousel in college has come to a halt, with all the best candidates already finding new jobs. All the signs are there.
Nice. Well, first of all, business-wise,
we love a coaching search.
The best thing that could happen to us is a coaching search. I personally don't agree with this one, but that's definitely good for business if something like that happens.
I would bet on Lincoln Riley going to the NFL after this year.
You would.
He seems embattled.
I agree with you. He seems embattled, but I feel like this is. I personally don't, but it's not like I know him very well, so we'll see what happens.
He should be getting excited about the Miller Moss era. You're right.
Right. Well, they always brings in transfer quarterbacks too.
Yeah.
Grinch.
You're not excited about the Miller Moss era?
I like Miller Moss.
Yeah, I think he's gonna.
I think he would probably run the offense like Caleb is like obviously amazing, but I feel like he's so big that he can kind of do whatever he wants. And
you heard it here first. Ryan is comparing Caleb Williams to Jaden DeLora.
definitely did mention that name. Oh, by the way, we didn't even mention if DeLora starts. What if he starts?
He's not going to start. Jed Fish is stupid. He's not that dumb. He's not that dumb.
Sure?
He's now 3 weeks post concussion from the piano falling on his head.
Yeah. Here, Jim had a point. So I kind of agree with this. Riley would take a pay cut, have less control, and worse living conditions.
Yep.
So I think that's fair. Okay, let's see. The next question is Grinch job security. This is Garrett from Orange. He says, "Hey, Ryan and Dave, what do you think it would take at this point for Alex Grinch to keep his job? If he and the team somehow turn things around and USC wins out the rest of their schedule with great defensive performances, does Riley keep him, or do we think he is as good as fired at this point?"
What do I think it would take for
Fired.
Alex Grinch to keep his job? Him somehow scaring up the money to order a hit on every sitting defensive coordinator at the FBS and FCS levels.
Wow. To Garrett's point, my guess would be if they do win out, I mean, that's super unlikely, obviously, and they play okay on defense, I bet you he keeps them. I mean,
the fan base
it would
will
not go
lose
well.
its
But I'm just
mind.
telling, like, I'm going to tell you what I think. Like, I don't think Riley's leaving for the NFL. That's just what I think. But I think if they like finish the season really strong, there's a good chance he keeps them. So that's just telling you what I think. Some are good for that would be bad for business, but I think that would probably happen. Riley leaving for the NFL would be good for business, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm just going to tell you
This is a lot of USC questions. Here's another one.
I can't, like, people are saying in the chat, I'm like, I don't know, ask us other questions. I guess USC is such a dumpster fire right now that people are
It's funny.
curious. Yeah.
For Ryan, is Lincoln Riley still the best head coach in the Pac-12?
No, I mean, he's lost head to head. Like, he's got the best resume still. He's done more than everyone else, but he's not. Yeah, you can't say that right now. Okay, next up. Oh my God, another one. I'm sorry. Like, we're not asking the questions. You guys are writing these in. If you don't like them in the chat, like, send us other questions. Is Alex Grinch secretly Johnny Manziel? From Brian. I'm sure Ryan saw this, and David normally Dave would have missed it. But it presented tons of chances to troll USC, so he definitely saw it. Alex Grinch was asked why his defense allowed Sione Vake to catch about 25 passes for like 5,000 yards on wheel routes. It wasn't the exact question, but it was close, against USC. His response, didn't see it on film. This is even though literally ran Vake. I think he means
They ran Vake.
so they ran Vake on wheel routes at least twice against Cal. The pig farmer just threw the pigskin too far. Man, his was this like
rough.
voice to text? Like,
Yeah, it's rough.
to fear. So since Alex Grinch doesn't watch film, that basically makes him Johnny Manziel, right? Luckily for Alex, watching film isn't really a big part of a football coach's jobs. Go Utes, 4 in a row against USC, longest win streak against USC in the poll era other than UCLA.
All right, I'm going to answer another question.
Can I, one real thing on his,
Uh-huh.
there was like, it might be voice to text. When you need like 2 capitalized words in a row, like a proper name, he's always capitalized the first and not the second. Like, there was a consistent thing. Like, something's weird with this email.
Yeah.
you get
Gil asked a question in the YouTube chat that we're just going to use as a palate cleanser. David, what record or scenario results in a UCLA head coach search? What is the buyout situation? Glad you asked, Gil. So the buyout situation is kind of confusing. They did an extension. I think right now it's like $8 million. But I think once December comes around, like December 15th, it drops to $4 million. So that's that. What record or scenario results in a UCLA head coach search? Well, I think it would be interesting at 8-4. I think 7-5, I would put odds on a search, and anything below that's obviously a disaster. But I would say 7-5 or below is a pretty obvious search. I think 8-4 is where it gets interesting. It depends on the complexion of how it goes.
So the Bruins right now are, 6-2?
Yes. No, 5-2.
5-2. Okay.
Yeah. So Colorado this weekend, more than likely a win. Then it's at Arizona, which right now I would put at probably a loss. ASU at home, probably a win.
SC,
USC on the road is, I mean, who knows what kind of USC we're looking at come mid-November.
But
and then Cal at home.
Cal at home should be a win.
They should have minimum of 3 more wins. So
Yeah.
that puts them at that 8-4 thing that I'm talking about.
Right.
And 8-4, I think, is just, and that's where you got to get into the mind of Martin Jarmond. And it's just, do you want to go in with continuity to the Big Ten? Do you want to go in with a new face? Like, what's the, because I think at 8-4 this year, you're kind of like, ugh. And if it's 8-4 where they win out the year with Ethan Garbers, is Dante Moore even sticking around?
Mm.
I think there's just a lot.
I think 8-4 is extension time for sure. You want stability going into the Big Ten. Gil says, by the way, the head is cut off, but that is J.J. Stokes in my profile pic.
Hell yeah, baby.
Nice. Thank you, Gil, for that.
All right, let's get back to our USC questions.
Okay, really?
No, Tenny. Okay. So I'm gonna highlight this because I don't want to read the whole thing.
This is my friend Tenny.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Remember, I think I put her into she follows you and stuff.
Oh, and so she has.
Holy cow!
She has a really long email that she sent to a lot of different people. I don't think it's incumbent on us to read it on this chat, but the Rose Bowl tailgating experience has become very bad, and they are trying to push people out who've been doing tailgates for decades, basically. From doing a lot of what's been done for a long time, which is tailgating away from your car a little bit so that you can get under the shade of some trees, but also having anything that looks too organized. Apparently Learfield and a lot of the different agencies that run a lot of the formal tailgates at the Rose Bowl are trying to squeeze these people out. It's bullshit. If you have any pull or sway, help out a bunch of UCLA fans. They're the hardcore. These are the iron-souled, the iron-willed UCLA fans who still go to games, still tailgate. These are the people, come on. Don't take away this last vestige of the glory days of UCLA by bulldozing these people.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize that. So, yeah, Tenny's my friend, so I guess she just included us on that email. But, yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah.
She's a lawyer. Can you tell?
There's a lot of writing, man.
There's a lot of writing, yeah. They were her and her husband, their house was featured on one of those HGTV shows too. It's kind of funny. Okay, so should I do this one? I guess Rob in Seattle. Question for you gentlemen. After Washington's clunker of a win over ASU, I've seen a theory bandied about online that goes something like this. Landanning is friends with Denny Killingham. I got you, David. And made a strategic move to share information about the Washington and the Arizona State coaching staff in an effort to assist in a Washington loss, which would benefit Oregon. Whether or not it's true, in this instance, my question to you gentlemen is, does information sharing like this happen between coaching staffs? And if so, how frequently? For the record, I would think that having an extra week to prepare for that game helped ASU staff just as much, if not more, than any info sharing would have. Either way, tip of the cap to them. They really should have won that game, but big yikes, but we'll take the win and wear our 7-0 merit badge with pride. On to Stanford for likely another weird-ass game. Go Dogs, Rob in Seattle.
It does happen.
Yeah.
Lots of staffs share info. Because you got to remember, these guys are competitors and everything, but they're also friends a lot of times. They've got friends on other staffs. They've got especially the low level staffers, they'll share shit all the time. So I don't know if it was Landanning sharing with Denny Killingham, but it might have been whatever GAs he was friends with, but I'm sure he got some info from Oregon. But the thing is, if you're a good staff, you're watching a lot of film, you don't miss things like an offense. Oh, this offense occasionally runs a wheel route. You don't miss that on film. If you're a good staff, and you've got people charting this stuff all season. So what value you could get from Oregon would probably be which guys look maybe a little bit more hurt than you would think on the film, or like that sort of stuff. This is something we saw really up close that you wouldn't get on film, but getting into the sign stealing conversation, maybe we deduced this about their signs, but I'm kind of out on all that stuff. I think it plays into this idea that these guys are doing shit that's like akin to working on the Manhattan Project, and I'm just out on that entire idea.
That's just not
like no. They just coach pretty well, and they had a really good scheme in place for dealing with what Washington does offensively, and Washington obliged by playing a shitty game. This happens, but it's not. There doesn't always need to be this like grand conspiracy explainer for a team playing above its weight and another team playing a shitty game. It happens sometimes. And did ASU help cause the shitty game? Sure. That Brian Ward earned his salary in that game. But we've seen Denny Killingham's team be competitive now every single game since he took over as the play caller. That's not a coincidence. So I don't buy all the like, oh no, it was all an info sharing thing and that's the reason. No, they've been coaching better. They've been playing better since he took over, and Washington picked a bad time to take a poop on the field.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. This is from Dave from, I think it's Seguim. I've pronounced it before.
Seguim? I don't know.
No, I think it's like Seguim or something. Interesting debate I overheard at the Gorst Safeway. Greetings, Wilbur and Dennis DeYoung. Now that the season is over due to our loss to Arizona State, I wanted to ask this off-season hypothetical I overheard on my way down to Hoquiam. Maybe it's Sequium. I don't know.
That's what
who would you rather have for your deep threat wide receiver quarterback duo? John Ross and Michael Penix, quarterback, or Jake Browning and Spider-Man? Thanks for all the hard work.
I mean, Jake Browning and Spider-Man. I mean, first of all,
you're talking about the
like Jake Browning, anybody.
Jake Browning, the most Pac-12 quarterback of all time.
Yeah, Jake Browning, anybody. But if you're giving me Spider-Man and Jake Browning, like, come on.
Do you remember John Ross though?
Oh,
John Ross was amazing.
He ran like a 3.940 or something. Remember, he had like super fast, I think, at the combine.
Actually, I thought Jake Browning was a pretty good fit for John Ross.
Yeah,
because those moon balls that gave him time to kind of run out under it. I don't know if Penix would be as good with him. I don't know. Yeah, you got to go Jake Browning and Spider-Man, no question.
Jake Browning, anybody.
Yeah, obviously.
Jake Browning had like a bag of Oreos.
Obviously.
But Spider-Man, come on. We got one, I think last one, text message. Hey, who would you take out of the bad offense and good defensive teams? Last year's Beavers or this year's Utah?
I mean, the Beavers weren't bad offensively last year. They just didn't have a passing game by the end of the year.
Yeah. Because they ran the ball really well.
Yeah. I don't know. Probably Beavers last year. I don't know. Utah's doing stupid stuff. They're doing absurd things.
I mean, I just want to see how long they can keep it up.
Yeah. All right, let's look. What was Oregon State offensively? Yeah, Oregon State offensively last year was 47th in the SP+. They were fine.
Yeah.
Their just passing attack was dog shit by the end of the year, but they were fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would take Oregon State. I think they were a better team.
Rusty
Squim.
Squim? Is that what they said?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a couple in the YouTube chat, and we'll get out of here. Matthew says, question, which school with 2+ losses has the highest chance of winning out? So 2+ losses, you have USC, UCLA, Arizona. I'm not going to nobody else. So there's basically those three. Like, you're not going to say Colorado, or I guess you want to say Colorado, you can, but Washington State, maybe.
All right.
Like
so
Cal, Stanford, Arizona State, no. But so
UCLA has 5 more games. They have to go. Hang on,
UCLA has. Yeah, we already went over this. So
it's got 2 50-50 games, and then 3 games where they'll probably be like 80 or 90% favorites.
Yeah.
So what that works out to is, yeah, I mean, it's not a great chance of winning out, but it's not.
There's a chance.
I would say they've got
like 35%.
No, it's less than that. Probably like
25,
10 to 20%.
Okay.
All right. USC has.
They only have 4 games, but they have 2 top 10 teams and UCLA.
Yeah. So this one, I would say they're probably, I don't know, 40-60 to lose both Washington. Well, probably 40-60 to lose to Washington at home, and then 20-80 to lose to Oregon on the road.
Yeah, so they're going to be lower.
So I'd put them under 10%, maybe like 5% chance. All right, who else were we going to do?
So we could do probably Washington State, Arizona.
What about Utah?
Utah's one loss.
Oh, right.
They only have one loss. They're not even in this.
Washington State, they just have 5 games left, but 3 of them are on the road.
Yeah.
Got at ASU, which we both think is a loss. Stanford, which should be a win. At Cal, which could be interesting. Colorado at home, and then at Washington.
I mean, there's really only one. I mean, they only have one ranked team. They only play Washington.
Yeah, but it's just in aggregate, and they've looked like dookie. So
Yeah.
I'd put that at close to 0.
I would put that higher than USC
Yeah, okay.
because there's really only the one good team.
Yeah, but it's still like they've looked bad.
It's not even like Arizona. It's Arizona.
So
State.
the one that's interesting to me is Arizona.
Okay.
So Arizona has 3 really tough opponents left in Oregon State, UCLA, and Utah, but they get them all
at home. Yeah. Colorado, Arizona State on the road.
So they've got they've got 3 coin flips at home, and then 2 road games that are manageable. I mean, I'm not going to say they're easy, but they're manageable. So I think it's basically just 5 straight coin flips. So what will that be? 5 times 5 times 5 sometimes, I think they're under 5%.
So probably UCLA the best chance.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it's not a good chance. I don't think anybody in that group has a really good chance of getting undefeated.
Okay. And then one last one. Rusty says, what's the best Halloween candy? Or what did he say? What's the best Halloween candy?
$100,000 is pretty good.
I do like those.
Reese's, General, any
Reese's
are very good. I'm a Twix guy. As I've gotten older, Twix has not been as much of a favorite as it was for me when I was a youth. Where are you on candy corn?
I like candy corn.
Dog shit.
Yeah, I like candy corn.
We've done this before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a Twix moment in college. Like there was some like on campus giveaway, or I did something, I don't know, but I had like boxes of peanut butter Twix. So I think I maxed out on those.
Yeah.
I actually used one. We had like a mouse in the dorm, me and my roommate, and I got a mouse trap, and I put a peanut butter Twix in it and caught the mouse. It was pretty funny. But I had a lot of peanut butter Twix. Babe Ruth, those are good. I like caramellos.
Okay, yeah.
I like
Caramellos are fine,
caramellos.
but that's not really a Halloween candy.
Snickers. Oh, that's true, yeah.
Snickers are bullshit. Snickers are fucking terrible. Rusty, you should feel bad about yourself.
I just had one on the golf course. I usually have them on the golf course.
Snickers are bad.
Why?
We've been convinced they're good, but they combine the worst part of the peanut, which is the actual peanut and not the butter. Like you want peanut butter. You don't want like crunchy little nuts in your chocolate. That's stupid.
Yeah.
No, Snickers are bad. Milky Way is far superior.
I think for like Easter has like special candies, which I love, but like Halloween doesn't really have like the only Halloween candy is really like candy corn, which I like and you don't like. But like, what is a Halloween candy? It's just all the candy bars. Like you just get candy bars from. So it's sort of like anything works,
Yeah, it's not like Easter where you get like Cadbury cream eggs and shit.
Yeah, Cadbury cream eggs are awesome. The mini eggs are like probably my favorite.
Yeah,
like those mini eggs, it's like M&Ms on steroids. Like those are really freaking good.
Yeah, Brian asks, what Halloween costumes are my kids wearing this year? Great question. The eldest is going to be Snow White. The youngest is going to be Mal from something called The Descendants on Disney.
Okay.
She's wearing like a little jumpsuit and a wig. Nice. I don't know.
Very cute.
It's going to be certainly interesting. Almond Joy Mounds.
Hold on. I was going to put that up there. Okay. That is, we should just shut the show down. Like, I don't think
that
we can go on. We can't go on. Yet another Duck
We
fan.
can't actually have a listener who says things like that.
No, we have to shut the show's over. Like we are going to stop.
Oh my God, I almost threw up in my mouth. I didn't think anyone actually ate those. I thought those were just like the ballast that you put in the bottom of the bag so it can be carried easily when the wind picks up.
Yeah, like you get Necco wafers or Almond Joy and Mounds and you just throw those away. Like there's like
Good God.
And you don't throw away your own trash. You had to look the neighbor's trash because there was not. You don't want that in your own trash.
Yeah.
Where are you on Three Musketeers?
Three Musketeers are fine. They're not good.
I kind of like them. Yeah.
The like nougaty shit. It's fine. It's not great. Skittles. I'll go across the board and go to like the fruity side of things. Skittles, Starburst, those are fine too.
Skittles, I like those.
Not my preference. Like if you're gonna do candy, why would you fuck around? It's chocolate, but sure, I'll get some. What kind of cancer do you get from Skittles? From the, red.
Did we shut it down? Didn't like California shut Skittles down or something?
Skittles, you're dead.
It makes me want to buy them.
Yeah, you can get some insane cancer from it, which is probably cool. Is the Bruins slamming the door in the face of the Trojan kid at Halloween still the best ESPN commercial? It is very good.
I don't remember which one that is.
Somebody comes to the door in a USC costume.
Oh, and they like to. Okay. All right. Well, good stuff. That's going to wrap things up. Do you want to give a big smile for the camera, David, so we can do our screenshot? Because, otherwise you're looking off into space or whatever.
Or yawning or checking my email.
Checking your Carhartt shirt, one of 50 that you wear.
Skittles turn you into a UCLA fan, Rusty says.
They do have those weird commercials where they have Skittles growing off you and people eat them. That was a little kind of gross.
Jackson, don't give me Dave's boy Newsom. All right? Don't give me that.
Dave's boy Newsom's banning Skittles. That is your boy, man. Banning
He's not
Skittles.
My boy.
Is he not your boy?
He's not my boy.
I put the wrong one up. Skittles turns you into a UCLA fan. And then
what an insult.
Your boy. Is not your boy?
No, he's not my boy.
Okay. Why did he ban Skittles? Why is your boy banning Skittles?
Because he apparently doesn't want people to have that particular kind of cancer.
Right.
Other cancers, all the other cancers you can get in California, those are fine.
Smoking's okay.
This
Skittles,
one, no,
we don't
sorry.
want that.
I live in El Segundo. There's a refinery on one side, there's an airport on the other, and there's a Hyperion plant on the other side, and then there's Sepulveda, maybe the busiest highway in Southern California. I'm getting some kind of cancer.
You got to be something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's David Woods over there. I am Ryan Abraham. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we will talk to you next time.